Alright guys, here's how you're going to build a personal brand that prints cash. This is how you're going to scale to those consistent $10,000 months, even if you have a smaller audience of less than 1,000 followers. Now, you may be a coach, a consultant, an agency owner, and you know that building a personal brand can attract clients. You've probably built up a bit of an audience, you've posted consistently, you've tried short form and long form content, and you may even already have a few clients, but there's no structure, there's no system to this. You are skeptical about if you can actually make this into a legitimate business because you're just not sure how to stay consistent with it. There's no consistent lead flow, there's no consistent conversions. It all boils down to the content you're posting to attract your dream audience. So, why aren't you making 10K a month consistently from your personal brand? Well, the first thing is you're probably not shifting your audience's beliefs. That is the only way you'll separate yourself from your competitors. Qualified views don't matter if you can't shift beliefs. Because think about it, most likely the thing that you're offering or willing to help other people with, someone else is already doing. And if you're not able to stand out, there's no way they're going to choose you over the other person. The only way you're going to stand out is if you're constantly in their face with your content, shifting their beliefs, making them understand why they need to be doing certain things. This is probably why you're not making 10K a month consistently yet, because in your content, something is missing. So, firstly, forget about going viral or posting non-stop. That's not the solution. The solution isn't to just have a video go crazy viral and post, 3 or 4 times a day in the hope that you're going to convert all those clients that are coming your way. I'm breaking down the exact system I use to hit 10K a month with my personal brand by simply changing beliefs, building deep trust, and setting up a content machine that converts followers into clients. Now, a lot of us fall into the virality trap. Building a personal brand is not about getting more engagement, views, likes, and followers. And trust me, this is how I used to think. I built my first 30,000 followers purely on virality by posting consistently, and literally I made barely any money. I think I made like $2,000 from my first 30,000 followers. Most creators think more qualified followers equals more money. If you're posting mostly value content to attract qualified viewers, but they're not converting, it's because the attention you're getting doesn't necessarily mean they trust you. They like your content and they know they're going to get free value from your page, but they don't trust you enough yet to help them resolve the pain they're having. I've had posts with 5,000 views make $5,000, but I've also had posts with 1 million views make absolutely nothing. You don't need millions of strangers to engage with your personal brand. You just need 100 people who trust you as the only solution to their problem. So how do we actually do this? How do we build a brand that actually sells? Now, it's all about understanding the content that we're putting out. And this is what I call the 4 pillars of a magnetic personal brand. So what actually makes your brand convert? The first is your core message. Before you even start creating content, understand what the message is. What is it that you're trying to convey? First, identify which market you're operating in. Is it health? Is it wealth? Identify who the demographic of people you serve is and what do those people want. So if you're a fitness coach, you obviously operate in the health market. And what do those people want? They want to be fit. They want to look good. They want to be healthy. They want to eat better. They want to have more energy. So these are the people you want to attract and you want to serve. And this is what they want. What do they not want? They don't want to be lazy. They don't want to eat bad food. They don't want to look bad. So really, based around the values and characteristics of the market you serve, build your core message and the impact that you can have on that demographic. And through your core messaging, identify how you can serve them best and how you can get them closer to their dream outcome. So once you identify your core message, you need to showcase your unfair advantage. This is how you're going to build connection through your story, values, and beliefs. What makes you you? This is what essentially makes you a one-of-one niche. Like we discussed before, there's most likely going to be someone else with the same offer or same product or service as you. But the reason they choose you is because of your unfair advantage. It's the reason they choose to work with you over somebody else. So talk about your story, talk about your journey and how you got here and why you're the right person to help them. Next is your unique mechanism. So package your offer and your content into a repeatable framework that gets your clients from point A to point B. What is your mechanism that actually gets them the result that they're after? Then you have your visual aesthetic, which is the look, feel, and consistency of your brand. So if you look at my feed, obviously I follow a very similar color palette. I use the same fonts. I'm always in a darker environment. But over time, this has actually built my visual aesthetic. And The key to having a consistent personal brand and something that kind of separates you from the crowd is actually dialing in your visual aesthetic. Now, some people might think that this is not as important, but I believe that it helps you stand out in a crowded market when you can really be known for the way your content is presented. Is really being intentional with the way you portray yourself on camera, the kind of attributes you have in your videos. All of these things build up the look, feel, and consistency of your brand. Magnetic brands attract your dream follower and repel everyone else. So you don't want to actually have a brand that attracts everybody, because if you're attracting everybody, then you're attracting nobody. You want to have a brand that is dialed towards your dream follower and your ICP, and it should repel everyone else. So someone who doesn't fall into that category should not be interested, essentially, because you don't want those people. You just want to be speaking to an audience that is there for you, is there for your values, your story, your beliefs, and they see you as the solution to their problem. And that's how you have a magnetic brand. Once you understand the components of a magnetic brand, then you can build a content strategy that prints cash. And with this strategy, you can easily scale to over $10,000 a month, regardless of your audience size. So content is broken down into top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. Now, the easiest way to understand this is top of funnel content is all about growth and attention, how you can cast a wider net with your content so a lot of people start looking at your brand. Middle of funnel and bottom of funnel is where you're going to be creating belief shifting content to actually nurture your audience because they're already inside your ecosystem. So breaking this down even further. All right, the first is growth content. Now, growth content are pattern interrupts that draw your dream follower in using hooks that address pain points. So if you look at some examples here, POV, it looks stupid until it doesn't. POV, the boys quit their jobs to build a business in a random Sydney villa. Now, this content is super top of funnel and it's casting a wide net. It's going to bring in a wide net of people. It's going to potentially bring in people who have quit their jobs, but they're not necessarily my ICP. They could be corporate workers, right? POV, it looks stupid until it doesn't. It's anyone who has spoken to a camera before and understands how hard it can be. So you want to cast a wide net to get attention with growth content. Then you have social proof content. So this is where you want to share your own results, client testimonials, inbound DMs, showcase to your audience that you actually have proof that you can do what it is you say you can do. And the easiest way to show this is through results, social proof. If you don't have client testimonials, then show your own results. Show what you've done for yourself. And eventually, when you're in a position to show client results, you can also show client results. Then you have your belief shifting content. So this is where you want to break myths and reframe their limiting beliefs. So position your mechanism as the new solution. So this is where you're really going to start teaching and helping your audience understand how to resolve their pains through your framework, your mechanism, and your actual skill that you're good at. So if you look at this, so if I scroll all the way back and you have a look over here, I posted this on my story yesterday and it had really good engagement because I was shifting beliefs. I was telling people that you don't need to actually go viral to make money. Even if you have content that performs really bad, if it speaks to a specific ICP, you can still make money through that piece of content. So things like that, where you're actually shifting beliefs and changing the way people think about a certain topic, is going to position your mechanism as the new solution. And then you have sales content. This is where you have your call to actions, your DMs, you make offers for your audience to join you. So here are some examples where I put on my story, I'm looking for 3 people who want to dial in their content, reply to the story, and let's map out a game plan. So I'm literally saying, come join me on my journey so we can work together. And then you have reels where you might have a ManyChat automation with a link where they can contact you. So sales content is definitely very important because at the end of the day, you need to let your audience know that you are selling something and you can help them. If you don't make that clear, it doesn't matter how good your content is, people won't want to buy from you because they're just not sure. Then you have long form content, again, super bottom of funnel. You have your YouTube and your email newsletters so you can build trust and nurture your audience over time. So this is the content ecosystem that's going to hit your audience on all different forms of socials, that's going to build trust and resonate with them so they can start to see you as the person who's going to help them get from point A to their dream outcome. Now, you may already know these concepts, but are not sure how to put it all together. Once your content strategy is dialed, audience size doesn't actually matter. The algorithm stops mattering. Your system does all the heavy lifting and your brand becomes a machine. When you combine these 5 types of content, it draws the right eyes to your page and builds real trust and converts followers into clients. Ever since I implemented this type of content, as you can see in the examples to my business, I was able to scale to $10,000 a month, and I was able to consistently get qualified leads and people interested in working with me. Now, the Creator Sprint is my unique mechanism that I use to put everything we just spoke about into a simple framework that I implement with my clients so their personal brand can start printing cash. First is all about identity ignition, which is your unique positioning making you a one-of-one niche. And then we'll go over visual authority, your content style, your content engine, which is your repeatable content system. And then authority acceleration is how we're going to use your personal brand to drive the growth of your vehicle. Now, this is the shift from random posting to building an impactful brand. Implement this and your personal brand will start to print cash. Now, if you're ready to build your brand, DM me Sprint on Instagram and you'll get access to Creator Sprint, and we can work one-on-one to build and monetize your personal brand. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.